1 week. We have not even a week. Not even a week, like 5 days, 6 days.
Well, we're on Monday, so we're going to be there 4 days from now.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I was telling my brother this earlier. I feel like the entire summer just flew by. Like, I know you and I have been zoned in on, like, this YouTube channel and making a bunch of videos, so we've been thinking week to week and day to day and everything, recording a lot, staying busy, but I just feel like this summer just, like, evaporated.
Well, also, I mean, the competitive season was so short because it started after July, so it really flew by.
Yeah, it's been wild, but we're, like you said, 4 days away. This will be our going into finals predictions podcast that we typically do for indoor and outdoor seasons. If you're a new listener, we have a lot of new subscribers throughout this summer, so we're kind of going to spend a few minutes here, go over the storylines, kind of overall storylines of the summer so far, and then we'll switch screens to a spreadsheet, go over just Evan's not seen my predictions, I haven't seen his. We'll start at 15th and just go up to 1. We decided to make the cutoff 15th because we both were like, we'll be throwing darts at a dartboard if we go below that. In all transparency, we don't have enough time to watch open class groups, the bottom of world class. Like, it's just too much time requirement to keep up with all of that.
We'll catch some of those open class cores after the season's over, like we have the most recent years. Check in with the groups kind of at the top.
For sure. So before we jump in, welcome everyone to the Aged Out Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Michael Fantini, and with me as always is
Evan Worrell.
And if you're on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, comment, and like. Are we completely off with our predictions? Do you agree, disagree? The like button helps. Honestly, the dislike button helps the algorithm too, but we prefer the like button, honestly. But go check out the podcast on all podcast services, Spotify, Google, Apple Podcasts, all that good stuff. Patreon.com or right here on YouTube at the join button if you want to support us financially. We're on Facebook and Instagram. We post a bunch of short content to Instagram as well as TikTok now. We've got up to like 600 followers so far on there. So if you're on that platform, go look us up and give us a follow. And I think that's everything. I think I hit the spiel.
Yeah, I mean, this season, I think some of the headlines at least are BD's still undefeated, right? Mm-hmm. The top 4 right now going into the last week, all very, very close in overall score.
It's like half a point, right?
Yeah, it's really close. The Blue Devils, Boston Crusaders, Bluecoats, and Carolina Crown. So those 4 are all just like neck and neck going into the home stretch here. And then even the 5 through 8 race, there's a little bit of a gap score-wise, but 5 through 8, 9 is also really tight, kind of flip-flopping around. And then 9 through 13, 14 also just kind of, we have these little tiers in there that are just kind of setting themselves up.
Yeah, so I was telling you as we were setting up and just talking and everything that I think you're going to see some weird stuff. Weird as in unexpected things going into quarters because things are so tight in those pockets of groups. And I'm speaking on in terms of overall core placements and percussion placements. I think you're going to see wild stuff night to night, especially in the percussion realm. And you might even see flip-flopping night to night in the overall core placements. And I can't harp on enough how excited I am for that and to watch it play out. Like, it's just going to be wild.
Yeah, I anticipate some flip-flopping. I actually did some overall rankings as well, just for the overall core that I'll breeze through. Just
we'll do that. Let's do percussion first. Let's get through the percussion predictions and talk about that stuff, and then we can do your overall after the fact. So, you ready to?
Let me say this too. What we're gonna do for the overall percussion placements is we're gonna use the average of all 3 nights.
Yes.
At least that's how I did mine.
Well, 2 because we're going to 15th place, but yeah.
Well, those groups that are 13 through 15, I'm assuming a 2-night average.
Yeah.
Whatever they stop on. If they make it and stop at semis, it'll be a 2-night average. If they make it all the way to finals, it'll be a 3-night average.
Yep.
So
that was the parameters we were operating under. So let me switch screens here.
So not necessarily how it is just finals night.
Yep. Make sure that doesn't go away. Let's see. You all should be seeing our little very, very basic spreadsheet here. So Evans will be on the left here. I'll be on the right. All right. So let's just dive right in. Who did you have in 15th place?
15th place, the Madison Scouts.
All right.
Who we just did a recent reaction to.
I'm going to make this look better because I'm a spreadsheet jockey by day. 2 seconds. Hold. There we go. All right, so Evan's got Madison Scouts. Yeah, we're already way off. And when I say off, as in like, it's.
Dude, I'm not very confident about. I'm not very confident about many of these. So.
No. We'll talk about that after we get these all on the list. But there's pockets of this, just as with the drum corps, that I told you before. I was like, this grouping of 5. This could be any freaking order. Who the hell knows how it's going to shake out averaging the numbers. But so you had Scouts in 15. I have Music City.
I actually have a 16 and they were on there. I don't know why. I stopped it.
So Music City was your 16?
Yeah.
If we'd gone that far, yeah. So I have actually well, let's do the next 2 to get to 12 and then I'll talk about my 15th place. So 14, who'd you have?
Blue Knights.
That is actually where I had them too, so we agreed on that one. Blue Knights, we both have them in 14th. Actually, this will be faster. There we go. 13.
Spirit of Atlanta.
Spirit. They're in my like bubble of possibly could end up in 15. So I did not have Spirit. I don't know why I did that. I have Crossman in 13.
Okay.
All right, before we go on to the finalist groups here, the top 12, my 15th place, I could honestly, if it ends up being Spirit, if it ends up being Pacific Crest, who else was around there? The Academy. I think the Academy is the least likely I have getting 15th. But if it ended up being Spirit or Pacific Crest, I would not be shocked. Like if I got that wrong and it was one of the other 2, fine. I just honestly did some homework earlier today and the battery sound of Music City kind of stood out more than Spirits and Pacific Crest. They were all very similar in terms of the frequency of ticks. And I've seen all of those shows at some point this year as well. I've seen them on the move. They all fall into that same range of achievement and what they're going content, probably for lack of a better way to put it. They're all really similar. So whoever plays cleaner, honestly, it's going to be a question mark.
For me, like, I just watched a couple of their videos pretty recently. Actually, I think it's a kid or a member in the line.
Spirit or Music City?
Me some videos.
What
Spirit.
Group? Spirit.
And so I was like, oh, I'll watch these. Yeah. And I was like, man, their drum and Spirit sounds pretty solid. So
I was torn.
It may be like a little bit of recency bias, but I was like, they sound pretty good.
Yeah, like I said, I did some homework as I was making this list and refreshed my memory with more recent videos from the last couple weeks of some of these groups in this range, and it was really tough. I probably sat and bounced between videos of Spirit, Music City, and Pacific Crest back and forth, and I was like, any one of these could be this high. Like it's whoever shows up. That's how I want to put it. Whoever shows up on quarters night and ticks less, because I feel like the content of those groups is very similar.
And probably has some help from the core placement as far as where the core is going on in order.
As bad as it is to say that, there's a lot of truth to that. Anyone that's been around the game of drum corps, we made the comment,
and that's not like a slotting comment. It's just it is what it is. I think there's always going to be an advantage to going on later. So,
yeah, we talk about it with the drum trophy race. We're like, their core is in 7th place. It's going to be super hard for them. Somebody did correct us in a comment. We did see that Bridgman won drums out of 8th place in 82.
Yeah,
so it has happened out of 8th place. If the Cavies core, yeah, whatever. All right, 12th place. Who you got?
I'm assuming that means that you have Scouts in 12th.
Yeah. Who's your 12th?
I have Crossman.
Crossman. So we're pretty close on that one, but yeah, I have Scouts in 12th. We recently reacted to them. Again, it could be recency bias, like you mentioned a second ago. I think the sound's good. I think the battery sound is good. I think the book has enough content to it. I could see them being up here if they pop it. All these groups in this range, clarity is going to determine a lot of this, in my opinion. But all right, 11. Who you
got? Blue Stars.
That is who I have in 11th as well.
I think a part of why I put them there is just because of kind of the roller coaster of the year that they've been on. Having two relatively new members to the quad line, just probably being in
One of them
flux
is a
as
vet
battery
from last
numbers
summer, though.
changed over the summer.
It's important to
Oh, yeah,
note one of the
helps.
guys that filled the hole, the blonde dude with long hair from Florida. I think he marched Infinity. He marched last summer too. So
Okay. Well, solid fill.
it's a good fill to come
Solid.
fill a hole for you. But
Yeah.
I had the same thought process. I was like, they've dealt with injuries, ups and downs, and trying to get people in there. Missed all spring training, and honestly, like I think they were better last year. If I'm being completely honest, we have not reacted to them yet. We're going to after finals. There's not a whole lot of new content for them out there from recent weeks, but I think they were. I was a big fan of them last summer. Honestly, you and I both were.
Yeah.
And they're not bad. I mean,
I think they did have another staff changeover though, so there's
did.
going to be some growing pains with that.
They
Greg
did.
Powers and team took over this year, so.
So, 10th
10th. I'll let you do 10 first.
Colts.
I have the Mandarins in 10th.
Interesting. You have them way lower than I do. You'll see where I have Mandarins. Well, not way lower, but lower. So you have Mandarins. What's your reasoning? Do you want to elaborate a little bit?
No, I mean I don't have a
No,
great
this
reason
is my choice.
other than when I look at the groups that I put ahead of them, I was like, I think they're probably maybe a little more consistent night to night, and they're also just good, dude. 10 through.
This was the tough one. This was real. This whole
10
range
through
we're getting into, real tough.
10 through 7 was all like, I mixed these around pretty heavily. I actually just changed this one, the flip flop 9 and 10 that I had about 20 minutes ago.
So I originally went into making my list, speaking on Colts, and I in my head had them higher. But then I also looked at, okay, well, this group's been beating them all summer. Okay, this group's been beating them. Like, they just kept dropping one place at a time from where I originally had them in like that 7-8 range. And I'm like, I think,
Yeah.
and they're good. I'm not hating on the Colts. We had our reaction video. You and I both are big fans of what they're doing in that organization right now. And I think the way it's going to play out, I think they're going to end up around. If they were 9th, I wouldn't be surprised at all. But I think that
That's
I
where
think
I
10th
have them.
is. You have them in 9th? Okay.
I think the consistency that they have.
It's true. 3 nights in a row.
That's basically what I was putting in there. I think that the consistency will maybe get them into that 9th spot for the average. But I mean, we'll see.
That is definitely a valid argument. This one, I'm curious to see where you have this group. I have Phantom in 9th. 1 second.
Phantom Regiment.
I had them in 8th at some point too when I was making my list, but their exposed moments are very good. The core is in the top 6, aren't they? Right, like 5th, 6th is where the core roughly is. No.
Yeah.
So
They're
I think
like
that's going to help
range.
them. If I'm wrong on this one,
I have them higher. Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm wrong on this one, I'll attribute it to. But in terms of the two groups I have above them, obviously you can see I have Mandarins higher. Mandarins is my 8th place group, and I have reasoning for that. I've actually watched a few videos of them over the past couple weeks. I watched their run. They were not at Atlanta, correct?
No.
There was a show midweek between Atlanta and Allentown they were at that I watched the stream on. And then I watched them at Allentown, and they've just been slowly doing this. Trajectory upwards for those on the podcast services that can't see anything.
That show is great, the Mandarin show.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like a spaghetti western or like Hades Town meets Angels and Demons, Cadets 2013.
I love that show.
So it's a great color palette. It's a fun show. Great use of the props. Great staging.
I'm gonna be totally honest, and this doesn't surprise me knowing Taha, having marched with him, knowing him pretty well in the activity, and following his work as an instructor from the Blue Knights days up to where he is now. This group did not come out of the gate very strong. Mandarin, we have not reacted to him. It's probably going to be our next reaction video with TJ Chiquette. He just spent like a week with them as a consultant, so he might have some cool insights on the group and what's going on. But They did not impress me out of the gate this year. I know they had very few vets. I think it was one vet in the snare line or something. But every single time I've seen a video of them or watched a performance of that percussion section, they've been cleaner and better and better and better. So I've got faith. I think they're going to finish pretty well. I think they're going to be pretty happy, especially considering where they started.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. My eighth grade place group. My 8th place group was the Troopers.
And I have Troopers in 7th. So that means you've got Phantom in 7th, right?
Phantom in 7th.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead
and a lot of that reasoning for my Phantom placement is their exposed moments. They play really well.
Yep.
And they're gonna go on, I think, in the second half of the show in like the 5-6 range.
Yeah. If I'm very wrong on my Phantom in 9th, I'm not gonna be shocked. And that's gonna be a theme. Once we get all the way through first place, I'm gonna break down and like highlight the different pockets of where we honestly we'll see variation probably night to night, judge to judge. So it's going to be rough. I'm pretty confident in my pods, though, if you want to call them pods.
Your tiers.
Yeah, my tiers, pods. I like that word tier.
Your groupings.
Yes. All right, 6th place. Who you got?
6th place, I have Carolina Crown.
That is where I have Crown finishing as well.
Yeah, Troopers.
If anyone's been paying attention, Crown jumped like 5 places between regionals. Atlanta to Allentown. It was 5, right?
Yeah, it was like 8th to 3rd overall. But it was kind of interesting when I did a deep dive into that recap from Allentown. A lot of the groups that were on night 2, just the scores were a lot higher.
Yep.
Maybe it's nothing, but to me, I was like even looking back at like the Madison Scouts and some of those groups that went on night 2, their drum scores were just way higher than other groups that are kind of in their grouping or their tier there.
Yep.
So I was just like, maybe it's just a little bit of night to night hype. I don't know.
I think Crown was too low in Atlanta in 8th. They got 8th place in Atlanta in drums. I thought that was too low. I think Troopers and Phantom beat them according to Ripacki.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought that was probably too low. And I also thought them looking at the numbers with the 2-day regional, them being in 3rd was probably too high, in my opinion. Right. So I kind of split the difference. Yeah. Is what I ended up doing. Like, you should probably be higher than 8th, but probably not as high as 3rd.
Right.
So, all right. We agree on Crown. 5th?
The Bluecoats.
That is who I have in 5th. I think we're going to agree on a good amount of the rest of these, but we'll see. Bluecoats have a great package. We've said it on here a million times. I just continue watching videos that pop up, waiting for the frequency of ticks to get smaller and for the consistency to increase. And I keep hearing grayness and I keep hearing missed attacks and stuff.
And time is running out.
Yeah, and we have like 4 days till quarterfinals. So at this point, I think I'm pretty comfortable with my 5th place Bluecoats call. And again, this is for fun. This is not for us to poo-poo on what anyone's doing. It's like,
I mean, it's hard. Like these, I think
all of these top groups are amazing. They're all so good.
Hardest ones. Yeah.
Yeah, they're all really good. So we're splitting hairs, just like with WGI in the top 5 most years. We're splitting hairs. All these ensembles are great. They're all achieving at a very high level. So 4th place.
4th place, I have the Blue Devils.
Interesting. You and I are going to have a discussion here in a second.
I'm assuming you don't have that.
I have Cadets in 4th.
All right.
But I'm a cynic, so I'll explain why in a second. All right, so originally I had BD in 4th, and we'll just go. I'm guessing Cadets are 3rd for you.
Cadets are 3rd for me.
And I have Blue Devils in 3rd. So originally I had the same 3-4 that you do. And the more I sat and thought about it, I said, you know what? It's the Blue Devils. I mean, I would argue, objectively speaking, the Cadets drum line is cleaner than the Blue Devils drum line. As of 2 days ago,
think there's any question about that.
No. as of 2 days ago, the Cadets drumline is night and day cleaner than the Blue Devils.
And
but
I think they're way more consistent. I mean, BD has some challenging things in there that, like, you hear it one night, it's like, sounds phenomenal. And you hear it the next night, and like, not quite in there.
this is me being a cynic, and the Blue Devils are going to do Blue Devils things. And they're going to, like, it's almost like, you know how we've said on here, and you and I know, Rhythm X has, like, the finals week pixie dust?
Right.
Blue Devils are gonna have the same effect. They have the same kind of thing, the way they pace the season. I just, the more I sat and looked at it, I just thought, and I was like, you know what? BD's going to get third.
I'm going to just kind of bank on consistency.
I like the Cadets drumline more. I love that style they're playing, the writing, the book
I even
that Lee
think
wrote.
the front is, like, solid. I mean, I don't know the nuances of front ensembles, but, like, I don't feel like they're just standing around not doing anything, which
BD's front does.
There are some moments where, like, BD's front's just, like, chilling, unless it's changed, which they could have changed it. But
I watched their Allentown
standing.
run, and they still have those moments there where the front just kind of chills while the battery's ramming, and it's like, again, it probably fits in to the theme of the Blue Devil show where they needed just drums in this transition moment or whatever. But I just have a hunch, because the Blue Devils are the Blue Devils, the Magic Pixie Dust. I think they're going to end up in third, but we'll see. I hope for Travis and Lee and all of their team and the members. I like the Cadets battery more than the Blue Devils battery right now. Second place.
I am conflicted on 1 and 2.
I am too.
I almost want to do a 1A and a 1B. I'm thinking of whether I'm not going to change it right now or not.
No changing on the fly. What do you have on the page in front of you?
Well, I haven't said it out loud yet. I have Boston in second.
Okay, so do I. And it pains me because I am such a fan of what that drum line does, and obviously that
I do think that Boston, far and away, has the best battery in the drum corps this year.
100%. Their battery is the best drum line in my opinion, and other people who I respect the opinions of a lot that I will not say their name on here at this point agree. Boston has the best drum line, and I will say their front ensemble is doing more and is better than they were last year.
Yeah,
So-
I think for me, again, I'm banking on consistency, which have the Cavaliers in first.
Mm-hmm.
They've been the most consistent group all year.
Look at the scores.
They show you what they have available in their arsenal when they need to. Is there maybe, from what I would consider, some fluff moments when they're not in front of the judge? Absolutely. But when it counts and they're accessible to the battery's accessible, they're throwing it in their face. And the front, from my perspective too, which is not as nuanced and qualified, is phenomenal. So
the front is, I feel
like that's the tipping and the weight of the scale.
That is why the front ensemble is why I have Cavaliers over Boston, because the Cavies front is really freaking good. And then you also have to take into consideration the new judging world we live in Drumland. Your front is 80% of your score. It really is.
That, and then like the ensemble cohesiveness that the percussion judge can feel from the field. I mean, so it just is what it is. And the Cavaliers drumline, I feel like, is set up for more success in their moments. Boston, I know I saw some videos of the Allentown lot, sounded really solid, but they definitely do have high risk, high reward moments.
That's where I was going next. We've talked.
If they come out and nail it, then we're gonna be wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If so, we talk about the high risk, high reward stuff. Blue Devils also have high risk, high reward stuff, as we mentioned in their reaction video in the very beginning of the season. The difference is Boston is a lot cleaner with their high risk stuff. BD still has work to do, in my opinion, from a clarity standpoint. But Boston's, it's the fours, man. Every time you hear grayness or dirt in that book, it's rolling the damn dice when they have multiple of those fours in the middle of fast triplet rolls, and you're like,
yeah, it's just the
good,
rolls
good,
ones.
bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, good.
It's
like,
not the
never...
ones that are like,
yeah, those are fine.
Like the throwing them in there. It's tough.
It's impressive as shit, And they get it probably 70, 80% of the time. But the problem is every show I've watched, every lot video I've watched all summer, they'll get like 2 out of 3 when they have like 3 of them in there.
I hope their lot they just throw at my face, but
I'm gonna be in their lot sitting right in front of them, and I'm gonna love every freaking second of it because they're amazing. They are the best drumline. I stand by that. Even with that risk in the writing, they are the best drumline this summer.
Just what they're being asked to do, and I love the approach. I mean, balls to the wall the whole show. Like,
yep. They're not hiding anything.
No fluff moments.
They do not care if the judge can't evaluate this. We're still going to ram. We're still going to play dense, beefy stuff, which I respect the hell out of. So, what I'm going to do here.
Yeah, you can do your tiers, and then I'll do. I'll give you like my overall here in a little bit.
Yeah, give me 1 second. Phantom Troopers, Colts, Mandarins. What color do we want? There we go.
Oh my gosh, that color is too close to the other one.
What? Blue and green?
It's like turquoise.
No, it's not. Maybe your screen's off.
It looks like
Blue Stars, I feel like, is a group of their own. I'm pretty confident with the 11 for Blue Stars. I'm going to leave them as white. And then we'll do these 3 as whatever. That's fine. And then we'll leave. What the heck did I just do? There we go.
Control Z.
Yeah, Control Z, undo. All right, we have the color coded here. Within these color codings, like your 1 and 2, Cavies, Boston, could flip-flop. We could be wrong. 3, 4, 5, 6, Cadets, BD, Blue Coast, Crown. I think you're going to see that order of that grouping of 4 flip-flop potentially night to night. I think there's a good chance of it. Crown could be higher. We don't know who the judging panels are yet. We don't know who has the Knights yet, but
we don't know who has the Knights.
Yeah. So Phantom Troopers, Colts, Mandarins. I think that 7 through 10 place right there, that's where you're going to see the biggest question marks and really movement, I think, night to night. And then I'm confident in Blue Stars. Same thing with 12, 13, 14, and really 15, 16, 17, in that range.
I'm very confidently unconfident.
Yeah.
Unconfident?
Yeah. Very, very unconfident, yet confident with the pods. Something like that.
All right. Type out my overall here next to it. I'll do 12 to 1.
Let's do this. Overall.
Or you can go top to bottom. I don't really care. No, go 12 to 1 because I have a... All right. Ready?
12 to 1. Go.
Blue Knights. Then 11th place.
Hold on. BK. Go ahead.
Crossmen. Some of these are like some, I don't know, some late surgers. 10 Colts.
Colts.
9 the Blue Stars. I think their guard and brass will help them out.
I would agree with that statement. Oh gosh, I can't spell. I'm like typing around my microphone right now. 8.
8th place, I have the Troopers.
Troop. 7.
Cadets.
Kadoops. 6.
Mandarins.
5.
Phantom Regiment.
Phantom. Good summer for Phantom, man. I like their show.
Mm-hmm.
I watched it in Allentown.
Great summer for Phantom and the Mandarins.
For sure.
I think definitely, I know I said this, but the Mandarins probably, I feel like, benefited pretty significantly from SCV not coming out. 4th
Very
place,
much so.
I have the Blue Coats.
Can't spell.
Yep, that's all right.
Go.
Crown in 3rd.
Okay.
And then I don't think it will be like this on prelims and semis, but I am anticipating
an 08 repeat.
An 08 surge. So I put BD in 2nd in the Boston Crusaders.
I will say,
just riding the mojo. Dude, Boston show is so impressive to me. And all summer everybody was saying like BD dominant, BD dominant. BD is phenomenal.
Hey, where are the Cavaliers?
I just don't think that show. Oh wait. Oh, I left them out. Well, unfortunately,
where are the Cavies
that
going?
means that BK is sliding down and the Cavaliers are in 8th. I don't know how I left that out. Oops.
That's hilarious. I just look at the drum scores. I was like, wait, Are Cavies not making finals?
Somebody's about to be like, this dude's an idiot. All right, so that means sorry, BK. Whoops.
Yikes, brother.
You're gonna slide down. And the Cavaliers. Sorry.
No, but I could fully see what you're talking about with BD winning quarters and semis, and then Boston jumping like an 08 Phantom situation. Because so Boston's show, I thought it was campy and cheesy, and was not a fan of it for probably 3/4 of this season. And then down the stretch, watching Atlanta, a random other stream in the middle of the week between Atlanta and Allentown. Allentown was like, this is actually pretty cool. Like, the more I watched it, the more it grew on me, and I appreciated what was going on the field.
That set where they're doing, like, the waterfall, moving towards side one in the brass, and then they're, like, back step jazz running, like, 6 to 5, like, while they're just hauling ass and blowing their brains out is so impressive. And I haven't felt like the Blue Devil show, as great as it is, has been, like, that dominant all summer. Like,
I've heard a lot of people say it's amazing, though, I will say. I've heard a lot of people talk about
they sound great.
Yes,
for me,
they always do.
The first half of it feels slow from a visual pacing standpoint. It's like they're moving, but it's not like super aggressive move. I don't know. It's just
see, whose show feels like that for me? It kind of just
Smoke
happens.
And mirrors at times.
The Blue Coat show is long as shit.
It is long,
dude. That show
so
literally,
long.
As much as I love what Tom wrote in the percussion arrangement for that show, just the show itself compared to the last few seasons just kind of happens. Like, it's just kind of there.
I don't know if I've said it on here, but that show for me in comparison to last year just feels very kind of like flat.
Yes.
Like that's the best way to put it. There's no standout moment of that show. Like last year I can still remember like that Keytar moment and a couple of other things that like stick out in my brain.
100%.
Even when I think about the Coach show this year, I'm like, nothing really sticks with me. That bump Anna Meredith section with all the like polyrhythms and stuff laying over top of each other is really cool.
Crazy.
But at the same time, it just feels
flat. There are moments that are interesting and intriguing and engaging, but just on the whole, I've seen it probably 6 times this summer. I've seen the show a lot, and every time I'm just kind of like, yeah, cool.
And other shows may have this too, and it just doesn't feel that way because the shows don't feel as long. But I was curious. I was watching one of their runs, and I was like, "Where'd the battery go?" And then I went back and timed it, and they like went behind the prop for like 3.5 minutes. I was like,
"Yeah, their drum
maybe
line
other
does
grids do that,
for
but
a while.
It doesn't feel that long."
Yeah, and
I don't know. It's hard. It's very hard from an ensemble timing standpoint.
There's a lot of intricate technical difficulty
yeah,
going on within the show. 100% deserve all the credit in the world for that.
It's one of those things that's like harder than you know it is.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know. I just don't know how to explain it.
Let's talk about Crown Show for a minute. Their brass is phenomenal. They've been winning brass, right?
They no, I don't think so. I think they've been kind of trading with Boston and BD, maybe around that. Definitely BD, I think, but the brass is phenomenal.
I think I like the Cadet show and the Cavi show because they feel like actual traditional drum corps shows. Being a boomer, back in my day, all that shit. Like the Cavaliers and Cadet show just feel like drum corps that I grew up on, and so, like, if I had to pick my 3 favorite shows of the summer, probably Cadets, Cavies, and Crown. I like Crown show a lot. The King Arthur theme. I think the music package is awesome. And they have that run and gun drill going on, like, the whole freaking time, which is crazy.
I like the thematic thing. It's easy to follow.
Yeah.
I like Crown show. I like Mandarin show.
There's a lot of good shows this summer, honestly.
Yeah. I like Boston show. I actually do like BD show. It feels like smoke and mirrors at times. Everybody says that, like, "Oh, smoke and mirrors." They're actually, you don't understand how hard it is. Like, no, I do.
I feel like I've heard people say that about every Blue Devil show for the past decade.
Well, it's because they're masters of design, and they know how to show and present to you what they want you to see and hide what they don't want you to see.
Yep.
But
you always know where to look, and it pulls your eyes and ears across the field where they want you to go masterfully, and it just works.
Another reason I kind of had Boston with the swing is I think that, even though this isn't my caption at all or anywhere close to it, the guard.
I knew you were going guard.
The guard has been underscored for like the last week and a half.
Interesting.
I don't know a ton about that.
Is this a tinfoil hat moment right here?
Yeah, I think the guard is just like, when I watch what they do, which is not often with most groups, but I'm just like, dang, this is dope. So,
yeah. Yeah, I honestly cannot wait to see how this all plays out. Again, let us know what you think in the comments. The predictions will show up in like an Instagram post like they do every season. Screenshot of this right here, so you can call us on the carpet when we're completely wrong on half of these. As things play out later this week, we will be. Oh man, voice is going away. We will be.
Left Cavaliers off.
That was hilarious. Good thing I noticed, or people would have called us out like, "Are Cavies not making finals?" Yet you've got them winning drums.
Idiot.
No one bats 1,000 all the time, you know. But we'll be in the lot on Friday for semis the whole time, or at least we'll bounce around. We might go get lunch, dinner, obviously, blah blah blah. We'll be outside in the lot Friday, outside in the lot Saturday. We're not planning on going inside unless we somehow get some tickets from some people, but we're planning on watching lots, hanging out. Feel free to come say hi. We love it when that happens, and meeting viewers and people that have been around for a long time, watching as we grow through this whole endeavor. Facebook, Instagram, drop a comment, hit the subscribe button here on YouTube, join patreon.com, and we'll see you in the next reaction video before finals, probably Mandarins, and hopefully we'll see you in the lot on Friday or Saturday.
Peace.